There you have it, second and final debate of this 2020 election. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, two white men in their 70s, two very different candidates. What we heard tonight over the course of the 90 minutes as we see Melania Trump come on the stage wearing her mask tonight is two very different visions of how to handle the COVID crisis, how the COVID crisis was handled. For the first 40 minutes or so, it seemed like a relatively normal debate. As the candidates laid out their positions on the COVID crisis, got heated about 40 minutes in when Joe Biden unexpectedly went on offense over Donald Trump and his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. President Trump responding with a series of unverified and misleading and false charges about Joe Biden and his business dealings and the business dealings of his son, and then some harsh clashes. We didn't have the kind of interruptions we saw in the first debate. The mute did appear to work at least for a time, but there were harsh clashes on health care, the minimum wage, children separated at the border under the Trump administration policy, and the big issue of character and race. Joe Biden memorably saying sarcastically, Abraham Lincoln talking about Donald Trump as one of the most racist presidents of modern times. The big question, John Karl, in the debate hall tonight for the president and his team, did they do enough to change the dynamic of this race?
Well, look, George, this was a much better debate, and kudos to Kristen Welker in the moderating here. And certainly the Trump camp Republicans generally, who I've heard from over the course of the debate, were relieved that Donald Trump was much more disciplined. He wasn't doing all the interruptions. He actually had a theme at times, the theme that Joe Biden is a politician. When Biden would come up with something, why didn't you do it when you were in power? 47 years, why didn't you do it? So much more disciplined, Donald Trump. But George, your question, did it do enough to change the race? I don't think so. And one factor here is that Joe Biden had, I believe, the best debate that he has had in 2020. Joe Biden went on the offense. Joe Biden had Donald Trump on the defensive repeatedly. Even when it got into Hunter Biden, Joe Biden turned it around and put Donald Trump on the defensive about his taxes. I've released my taxes. Why haven't you released your taxes? How much did you pay in taxes? What about your bank account in China? It was a much feistier and more focused Joe Biden as well.
Mary Bruce, the Biden camp had made this debate a priority. They put him down for several days to prep. Perhaps it paid off.
It certainly seems that way. And, you know, George, going into this debate, we were talking about how in many ways Joe Biden just needed to stay the course. This was anything but trying to run out the clock here tonight. Joe Biden was surprisingly aggressive. It was, I think I agree with John Karl, his strongest debate performance, much stronger certainly than the face-off that we saw him have during the primary. And he did go on offense. He went after Trump really hard on his taxes, on his lack of a health care plan, on foreign influence, on immigration and child separation policies. And his team tonight feels that he did a very strong job here. They say, you know, yes, the president may have had a softer tone, that there weren't the constant interruptions that we saw at the last debate. But Biden's team says, look, that simply doesn't cut it, that they say Trump needed a win here. He needed a big win here, and he didn't do that. That's according to the Biden team. They also feel, you know, that Trump came in trying to drive specific attacks. They say that he repeated lies and that Biden proved that he can flip the script on the president and put him on defense.
David Muir, he was not sitting on a lead.
No, it wasn't. And right out of the gate, we saw that very difference between the two of them on how they would handle the pandemic. You know, we saw the vice president come out with the black mask on. The president did not have a mask. They differed on where we've been as a country, the pandemic, where we are, and where we're going. The president talked about him having COVID. He said, I'm immune. He said, not sure how long that lasts, but I'm immune. So the vaccine was ready. It'll be distributed quickly, although we know regulators have said emergency authorization won't come for a few more weeks, at least until around Thanksgiving. From Vice President Biden, we heard something very different. He said 220,000 Americans are dead. Any president who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain president of the United States. He used the word responsible, which is a strong word for Vice President Biden to use. He said we're about to go through a very dark winter, in stark contrast to what we've heard from Donald Trump, not only in the campaign trail this week, but he said it again tonight during the debate that we are rounding the corner, despite the surge the three of us have been reporting on in this country. And it's really no part of this country is immune to the spike that we're seeing right now. And where they really did battle is how do you move forward? Vice President Joe Biden made the argument that we've got to get money to small business. We've got to open carefully. It might mean social distancing within these businesses. The president continued to try to hammer him, saying, you've got to open things up. We are stifling the economy here in this country. But it was very stark, the difference on every single point when it comes to the pandemic.
Definitely on the pandemic. And Lindsay, one of the other things I think we saw the president trying to make headway with these attacks against Joe Biden, his personal corruption. He said it seemed like Joe Biden came back and sort of embraced that debate, saying character is on the ballot.
Right, and looked right at the American public at that moment and said, you know who we are, right? And now you make that decision. I thought that was a really strong and compelling moment that Joe Biden had. I think that he really had one job to do tonight, and that was do no harm, and I think that he accomplished that. Chris Christie said right off the top that Donald Trump's job was to say, what is he going to do in the next 4 years? Instead, he really gave what you're going to get if Joe Biden is to get elected. You're going to have a depression, the likes of which nobody has ever seen. The stock market is going to crash. Fracking will go away. You're going to have socialized medicine. Small businesses will have to fire employees, and went on and on and on.
Even when he was asked what he would be saying in his inauguration, which presumably would have been after he defeated Joe Biden. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.